Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Upfront. I'm Falon Wagner, and today we're at Lethbridge College talking with Dr. Paula Burns. She is the president and CEO of Lethbridge College. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. It's so good to have you. And tell us a bit about yourself for those who might not know you.
Well, I've been at Lethbridge College for 5 years, but I can maybe tell you a little bit about my journey to get here. I grew up originally in Nova Scotia. And when I graduated from high school, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. So I thought, well, I'll apply to a bunch of things. And they ranged from like computer science to respiratory therapy to nursing. And then I thought, okay, wait, I'm not going to go anywhere yet. So what I did actually is I toured for 2 years with a group called Friendship Ministries. And we did singing, puppets, and drama in schools, nursing homes, churches, and got to see a little bit of both the United States and Canada. And so then, could sort of settle into something that I wanted to do. I spent quite a number of years as a respiratory therapist, did a science degree, and then really got into education and sort of moved my way around in education and decided that I would do a master's and a PhD, and here I am.
Here you are today. So do you find those experiences that you had leading up to where you are today really shaped maybe who you want to be as a president and CEO of the college?
Yeah, I think so. And it's like I never set out to be a president and CEO, but I just sort of took the opportunities that came my way. And so even when I was working, I worked in Toronto at the Michener Institute. And I had the opportunity to be an instructor there. I was a chair, so an administrator in the program area. I did curriculum design. And it was a small institution, so I got to learn a little bit about everything, which now I see has really helped as a president because I can ask some questions that just are related to sort of every area of the college. But yeah, it was something that anytime there's an opportunity, I'll accept it for the challenge. So.
And I think that's a good way to look at life in general, taking those opportunities that come your way.
Yeah, and even since I've been in Lethbridge, that's sort of how I've approached it, different activities that I've been able to participate in. I took up cycling 3 years ago, which was not something I had done before I lived here. So yeah, just taking new things.
And I'm sure every day is a little bit different, but walk us through a regular day as president and CEO of Lethbridge College.
Well, I'm not sure there is a regular day, but I guess sort of when I think about my role, it's really sort of the oversight and the leadership of the whole college. And so most days what I have is interaction with some of my direct reports, some of the leaders that report directly to me. I have a large community involvement. And a student involvement too. So a president's job is really making sure that all the stakeholders are, and I'll say happy. They might not always be happy, but the responsibility I have to students, to our community, is to make sure that our programming and everything is serving the needs of our region. So on a regular day, I'm meeting with individuals, I'm meeting with groups. I might be providing some opening remarks to some of the exciting things that are happening on campus. Recruiting new board members is also a big part of what I do, making sure that we have leadership from the community to support the governance of the college. And generally just having a lot of fun. There's, every day I come to work, I love coming. It's not a chore to come to work, for sure.
I love that. And are there any challenges that you face as a CEO or president?
I guess there are always challenges, and certainly probably trying to manage the expectations of all the various stakeholders, because they're not all the same. So an expectation that a student has might be slightly different from the expectation of a community member. So just having a good sense of what all of those are so that you can manage them, that's sort of the challenge. One of the things that some might call a challenge is the never really having all the information to make a decision. But that's also kind of exciting. That's part of what leadership is about, and it's taking sort of stock of everything that's going on and then making the decisions that need to be made. And we have a super strong team. We work together a lot, and so I rarely have to make a decision on my own. It's about a team.
I love it, team effort. And you talk about communicating with stakeholders, community members. on a daily basis, I'm sure you've met some very interesting people along the way on your journey. Is there any examples of people that have really stood out to you?
Wow, that's a tough question because it's true. I meet all kinds of exciting people, interesting people. I think the ones that sort of strike me the most are some of the student stories. And anytime I hear, the story of a student who may, particularly those who may have come back to school after doing, several other things in their life, or they just didn't have the opportunity to come right after high school, for example. What strikes me about their stories is that every one of our students has a story, right? And the difference that we as a college can make in the lives of so many. I heard not all that long ago, maybe last week, of a student for 16 years who was a waitress, actually, and decided, no, I want more with my life. Came and did a diploma, I think it was in our environmental sciences, continued on, and is now actually in a master's program, and is actually our very first student to go to a master's program, coming back to do research with us. So those are the kinds of fascinating people to me. It's those people who make a choice to come and get some education, and it really makes a difference for them.
When I was actually getting my broadcast journalism diploma at the college, just speaking with other students, like you said, everyone has a story, and it's so interesting to hear why they chose the profession they chose and their journey to get there.
Yeah, and some of our alumni and those who come back, the community of Lethbridge is such that almost every day I meet someone who says, yeah, I went to the college, or I graduated from the college. I met somebody in Edmonton yesterday when I was up there at a reception who said that she came to the college when it was out in a field, right? So like one of the very first students in the nursing program, actually. Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you have maybe a saying or life motto that you like to live by?
I probably have more than one, but probably what I'm characterized most for is go big or go home. I don't do well with status quo. I kind of get sort of bored with it, and I always want to see what new and different things we can do, both for me personally and also just for the college, right? So I like to see us progressing and doing new and innovative things, being leaders in what we do.
Thank you. That's great. Great answer. And just after the break, we'll be speaking more with Dr. Paula Burns. Back at Lethbridge College with CEO and President Dr. Paula Burns. She's joining us for our second part of the segment. So my next question for you is, what is some of the programs that the Lethbridge College offers for prospective students?
We have about 50 different programs, and we have them actually categorized into 5 different academic centers with, some themes to them. But if I were to talk about some of the ones that I think are not just the big programs, but the ones that are sort of unique to us and set us apart. Our nursing program is a 2+2 program with the University of Lethbridge. It started out as a diploma program at the college, and when nurses needed degrees, we started partnering with the university on that. That's a very strong program. We have many graduates of that program. Really strong retention too. I think the faculty are extremely caring and make sure that the students get through. We also have an environmental sciences program. Recently we have added a 4-year degree in ecosystem management, which was our very first baccalaureate degree. So that was pretty exciting, and we're into our 3rd or 4th year of students in that program now. Also in our agricultural area is also a growing area. It's been a long-standing program for us, but we're adding agriculture enterprise management this year. And so that one is really about the whole enterprise of agriculture and how do you manage it, because it's a lot bigger than the family farm now. So starting to grow some of those areas, and also really focusing on some of our technology programs as well, because we see the digital economy certainly demands technology grads.
And let's talk up the college a little bit. Do you think that the programs here help prepare students to go out and work in industry as soon as they graduate?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really what the hallmark of our college is to be very focused on employment. In fact, all of our programs are aligned to some job, basically. So we have the stats that we have are really good. Students usually find jobs, about 80% of them find jobs within the first year in their field. And I always say students are really smart. They come to the college where into a program that they know they can get a job in. They do their homework. Because what happens for us, if we have programs that aren't leading to jobs, those are ones that we usually sunset and start new ones. Doesn't happen a lot, but there is the occasion where we need to do that because we want to be really focused on the employment industry.
And how does the college promote an inclusive and healthy learning environment for students and faculty?
That's one of our overarching goals, really, is creating that inclusive environment. We have, over the last 4 or 5 years, really worked hard to understand the different populations of students we have, to, in particular, focus on the Indigenous students and also on our role as a college on Blackfoot territory. And what does that mean from a responsibility point of view, and what is our responsibility on with reconciliation, educating our staff and our students. But also the last 2 years we've actually risen the pride flag, and that was something new for us as well. Having conversations right now with the LGBTQT students group and making sure that we have safe space for those groups. We want our entire campus to be safe, but we understand that as people are learning and growing, that sometimes they actually need dedicated space to make that transition as well and have that place to talk to people. So those are some of the things we're doing. International-wise, we've had a Bridging Cultures event for the last number of years as well, just helping everybody understand each other. Black History Month was last month. That was our second annual, organized by our faculty and our students, which I think is really great. It's not things that we, from the top down, are necessarily initiating, but just following the flow of our college.
You just gave some examples, but how does the college engage with the community? Obviously, the community is a big part of the college and vice versa. So how do you work together?
We work together in lots of ways. So our executive team will sit on various committees within the community. I've been involved with economic development Lethbridge for basically the 5 years that I've been here. But also we have in each of our program areas, there's usually some sort of whether it's a community group or a professional group or a niche that is related to the program. And you'll see that our faculty and our students will get involved in some of the things that are happening. The walk a mile in our shoes is one of the examples that the justice students do, and some of the faculty in that area. So I think we're a strong community partner, so we contribute back as well as we know that the community contributes to us hugely as well. That's another one of our sort of strategies, is to really make sure that we have collaborative partnerships. Our sustainability is based on the fact that we are meeting the needs of our community.
You just mentioned your leadership team, and maybe tell us a little bit about the leadership team and who your executive leadership team is comprised of.
Yeah, great. We have, I call it a very lean team, very focused. There are 3 members of our executive team besides me. We have an executive director that's focused on people and planning. Again, we know that people are the greatest asset. We have a people development strategy that our Corrine Roth, who's our people and planning executive director, leads, wanting to make sure that we're nurturing the talent that we have, preparing them for leadership roles, and also preparing them for leadership roles in the community as well. Our provost and vice president academic is Samantha Lenchi. Samantha's been with us since August of 2017. She came with a whole lot of experience from 2 different colleges as well as St. Polytech, and just has a real desire to see the programs be the best they can be, and also to reach out into the community and find out what are the new programs we have. And then our third member is Simon Griffiths, who is our Vice President, Corporate Services, and our Chief Financial Officer. He's the money guy. He really does make sure he's very strategic in terms of thinking about what we need to do around our budget and sustainability to make sure that our college is operating the best it can be. One of his favorite sayings is to make sure that the budget is supporting all the strategies that we have, and that we don't spend too much money and we don't have money left over. So, yeah, we have a really strong team. We all have slightly different approaches to things. We have good conflict to make sure we get the best decision for the team.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, in 2016, there were maybe some tensions between the Board of Governors and faculty regarding the direction of the way the college was headed strategically. What action was taken to make those two teams see each other's side of it?
Yeah, that was a really interesting time, because I think the strategic direction of the college has not changed since then. It's been the same since 2013. But I think what has changed is sort of how we go about that. And I think the relationships were strained a little bit because there was quite a push in terms of we need to make sure that we are leading edge, that we're leading and transforming, but yet recognizing that some people were in different places and needing to come along. So what we did was spend a lot of time listening to where they were, understanding what concerns were, and making sure that we put mechanisms in place to help. I would say the communication was a big part to make sure that people understand where we're going, and also to make sure that the leadership was within the faculty ranks particularly around the program areas, to do that. So we created a committee that really focused on the excellence in teaching and learning, that was led by faculty members to move us in a new direction. So as I said, the strategic direction is not changed, but how we get there is slightly different than we might have imagined, which is pretty normal in change.
I love that. Well, after the break, we're back with Dr. Paula Burns, so stay tuned. Back with Dr. Paula Burns one last time. We're now going to talk about some of the changes that have happened within the college over the last few years, some major changes, very exciting changes. Let's talk about what's been going on at the college over the last few years.
Yeah, well, certainly one of the biggest things has been the Trades Technology Innovation Facility, which we just opened officially in September. That building, when I first came to the college 5 years ago, it was something that we needed to get government funding for, and in my first year, I guess it was, we did secure the funding for that and were able to start the building. So it is, it's the largest project in the college's history, and quite likely the largest one in its entire history, because I think that as we look at the future of education, we'll probably be doing renewal of buildings. I'm not sure how many big new ones we'll build. So, but that facility is incredible. It was close to $80 million. It's 168,000 square feet. It's a big building. What's neat about it is it has our apprenticeship trade programming, it has our some of our technology programming, and it has a lot of wide open space and bright hallways, so you see a lot of students and faculty interacting in that space, using it in different ways, and so it's become really a sort of a magnet within the college, and we're very proud of all the community support that went into making that building happen. If you're able to go and see it, you can see on all of the classroom doors sort of those who contributed, so it's quite an amazing facility, and really brought our team together to do something that was going to make a difference to Southern Alberta.
Yeah, what an amazing project. And kind of a hot button topic that's been happening lately is schools have been changing their designation. Colleges, community colleges, for example, Grant MacEwan, changed their status to a university. What do you think are the positives and negatives for a community college or a college to make that jump to a university?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because the system in Alberta has actually 6 different sectors, and so we do have colleges, we have polytechs, we have baccalaureate universities, which MacEwan and Mount Royal are both in that, and then we have comprehensive institutions which have our research, so our U of C, our U of L, etc. There are reasons why people will choose to determine what category they need to be in. I think certainly for us as a college, it was a question when I came here about, should we be a college or should we be something else? And it really relates to whether or not you're granting degrees or not, which we were able to do. We do have, as I mentioned, the baccalaureate in ecosystem management. What we chose to do was to develop degrees that are in the niche areas that are our specialty and that our region needs, in partnership with other universities if needed. Our degree happens to be all done at Lethbridge College. There isn't a partnership. But some institutions find that they actually need to change their category, their status, to university to be able to do that and to serve their community needs. My personal belief is there needs to be a mix of those different types of institutions in the province and particularly in the community. So we are very proud to be a college. We think that as a comprehensive institution, we provide access to all students really through our college upgrading program, through general studies, and then into some of our other more specific programs. Plus, we have a fabulous partnership with the University of Lethbridge, and so many of our programs will transfer. They can receive a diploma here, which then they can transfer over to the university to do a degree. In some communities in our province, that option doesn't exist, so they may have chosen to do something different.
All right, I've been throwing some hard-hitting questions at you, but now we're going to have some fun. We're going to do a rapid-fire round of questions here. Are you ready?
These will probably be harder.
Yeah, maybe they are, actually, sometimes. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite season?
Well, interesting. It depends on where I am, but what I really love is that we have 4 seasons because I like to do like a bunch of different activities depending on the season. So I love living in a place where there's 4 seasons.
That's a good one. What's your favorite color?
I would have to say green.
Green, that's a good color. And especially with St. Patrick's Day coming up.
That's true, yeah.
Do you have a favorite food?
A favorite food is actually pad thai. Yeah, I love Thai food, but pad thai would be my favorite.
Is there one item that you own that you cannot live without?
I've never really thought about that. I don't think there is actually, because, the items, things, stuff, essentially you can live without those. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Are there 3 items now that you would want on a desert island if you were stranded?
Me, myself, and I. Probably water would be the thing, the only thing I think that I would really need. Everything else I think you could figure out.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite place to travel or you like to visit?
I love to travel in Canada, actually. I've been to quite a few parts in Canada. I've not done a lot of international traveling, but I think my favorite would be the coast, either side, and where there's mountains.
Good answer. And do you have a favorite sports team?
Edmonton Oilers.
Controversial, but a good one.
Controversial, but today is good, Yeah.
Is there a favorite movie that you just can't get enough of?
My favorite movie is an older one. It's Forrest Gump. And it's just, I don't even know what it is about it really, but I think it's just the inspiration, dedication, really, Forrest Gump.
Good one. That is a good one. And do you have a favorite pastime or something you love to do when you're not working here?
I love to cycle. Yeah, I also like to ski, but I would have to say that cycling would be my passion at this point.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You passed the rapid fire round of questions with flying colors.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching this edition of Upfront. We'll see you next time.